Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be doing a weekly outlook for the 15th of January to the 20th of January, the week ahead. We're going to be looking at gold and we're going to be looking at GBP, JPY. So let's get straight into it. So what can we see on the weekly time frame? Obviously, we are very bullish on gold right now, right? We came into major highs, so it's very difficult to actually have a long-term bias, right? The way this year is going with all the elections and the wars, and it looks like gold is up, especially as we've broken these highs and bodies on the weekly. It does seem like as this is a safe haven and people generally move towards gold when these sort of uncertain situations happen. I know in the last pump we saw people also put money into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as well because that was seen as a safe haven too, right? So there's a big debate between what is the better investment and what is the long-term safety net. Is it cryptocurrency? Is it gold? Big debates. But yeah, I could say that's why we could potentially see um, price moving up. But I'm not really a fundamental trader, but it's good to just have it at the back of your mind. So if we look at it from a technical aspect, I can see that price is forming a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher highs, and higher highs. So generally, I'm pushing towards the upside. We can also see that if you look at this marker here of 2035.215, price has respected this area here, 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 here. But look at here, we have wicked into this area nicely. We've left a prominent wick. It tells us that the sellers tried pushing price below this area, but we couldn't. The buyers came back in play and pushed back price back above this line. And that's when you can see my line. Let's see where it is. Yeah. So you can see around here, this was my line. 2000, I just kept it to the psychological level of 2020, tap 1, tap 2. We can also see here my daily level around 2040 is put on. So I just rounded it to the nearest psychological level, right? So that's the weekly. Generally, what I'm looking for is another leg to the downside and then a push back up into 2077 or at least 2070. We can bring it to the bodies. Oh, I believe I did on the daily. Yeah. So paying careful attention. We can see on the daily time frame we are bullish as well, right? But you can see that we were pushing to the downside. We had these wick rejections. We had 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick into 2040. But the next daily candle on Friday closed back above this area with no wick to the downside. So we've shifted momentum. We also closed above this body. This gives us greater indication to start looking for some buys if you look at it from a price action point of view and really understanding what's going on with these candles. You can also see on the left hand side, this is a nice area with wicks. Yeah, if we go on to the 4 hour, again with the 4 hour, we can see that price rejected this area of 2020 and raced into 2080. Price came into from 2020, it went up to 2080. It's happened in the past, and there's a high probability it can happen again, especially when the 4 hour shifted structure as well. We can see the 4 hour has now gone bullish by closing above the zone of 2040. We can also see on the left hand side when price closed above 2040, what happened? We rejected back into 2040 with 2 wicks, and we saw price push back up to the upside. Now, this has been very choppy. Look at these wicks, look at these wicks. We pushed down, we rejected this area once, twice, 3 times, and we eventually broke above it. So for me, this looks like a good area for some buys or whatever happens. I'm waiting for price to stay maintain above 2040, give us some good rejections. And if we do, we will look for buys into that area there. And that's all I'm really looking for. Or maybe even buys down here. Buys here or buys here. It depends on where we reject and where we can see price maintain above. But either of these two areas are good areas for entry for me. I'm not looking for sales this week. Now, if I miss this entry, I will go ahead and mark up a zone on the left-hand side here. And I can see price has rejected this area once, price has rejected this area twice, 3 times, wick, wick. So if I miss my entry, I will wait for price to break above, wait for a retracement, and I will buy this into 2077 or 2080. Simple, no rush, no hesitation, no reservations. Calm, relaxed, and confident. That's how you need to be approaching this market. And keeping at the back of your mind that this market is random and it can do whatever it wants. So we should never feel disappointed as long as we are following our trading plan and not making any substantial errors. Okay, moving on to GBP and JPY. To be honest, it's quite straightforward. Now, there's two ways I'm looking at this. So let's have a look at what I've written and we'll go through it one by one. No, not all time frames, daily and 4 hour are bullish. The weekly is not bullish. I'll tell you why. Look, let's have a look. High, I do it from the bodies, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, break of this previous higher low to form a lower low. Now, two things can happen. One, we continue to the upside, or two is potentially forming a lower high there and pushes down. One or the other. The question is, which one is it? For me right now, we just need to see what happens. We can see on the left-hand side that the weekly came into this area, right, of 186 once, twice, three times, and we maintained below this area and we trembled down into 180. Yep, 180 around one. I'll just keep it to the round level to make it easier to say instead of saying that long number. Now, price pushed up, came above 160, couldn't maintain above for a long time, and raced back below down into 180 again. Price could not break 180. The body closed above the previous wick high. It also had such a strong candle. It wasn't like it closed here, it closed way above. It's a bullish momentum, lots of volume was in this area. So that gives me indication that okay, we are very bullish. We were very bullish on the weekly the week before. So, but what happened was we came into 186, we closed below 186. We've rejected this area with a prominent wick. Now, two things can happen this week. Number one, or over the next couple of weeks, I mean, we could look to head back to the downside. If we break below 184, I'm more inclined for sells, especially if we take out this low. If we take out 183, and we're obviously below 184 in general, right? Look at 183. Rejections, rejections, rejections. So if I'm below 183, I'm more inclined for sells. If we break this wick low, I'll show you why on the lower time frame it will make more sense. But that's if that happens. But if that does not happen, I am generally, because the 4 hours bullish, the daily is bullish, I will wait for pullbacks into this previous area of resistance, right? Where there's nice dojis and indecision around this area, right? We can also see in this area here, we saw rejections. We can also see a wick came into this area before we floated to the upside. So I want price to come into this area and we can see what happens. My TP1 will be in 186 since this is what we rejected. Secondly, if we break and retest, I will look for another entry into 188.380, which is our weekly high. Let's go to the daily time frame. Very simple, very clear market. We can see that we have a resistance, a resistance, a resistance. This is also the previous structural high which we broke. We need price to retest this area, maintain above this area, look for buys into 186. Generally, I would like my TP up there, of course, but I'm just not sure what the weekly is going to do. Is the weekly going to maintain below 186 like it did here? Especially because we're bearish. Now, if the daily, if the daily and 4 hour break structure, as I mentioned, 183, look at 183. This is how 4 hour would break structure, right? This is how the daily would break structure as well. If we maintain below 183, I will look for breaks, retests, and sells into 180, or even Yeah, 180, I would say. But that's my sales verdict. That's because everything shifted structure and everything's bearish, right? And it makes sense. But for as of right now, price, I'm looking for buys. I'm looking for buys around 184 if we can reject this area into 186. Actually, you know what I would do? I would be a bit more intelligent because I'm more inclined for buys overall. I will put my TP at 188.500. And if, let's say, price rejects this area and we're pushing up, if I get a clean 4 hour rejection at 186, I will close my trade because price has seen in the past when we reject, we fall down. When we reject, we fall down. If we come here and reject again, that makes me think that the weekly is going to still reject this area and we may fall down. So my TP is going to be larger, but if I get a clear 4 hour rejection, I will close my trade and take whatever risk to reward that's given to me. So I'm protecting my risk at the same time and I still get money out the market. I'm just going to be intelligent in my approach. And let's just say you're probably thinking, but what if it ends up breaking? No problem. I will wait for the retest and I will look for buys. But my experience with GBP, JPY, right? I know a lot of people are going to be looking for buys here, which is fine, and I will as well. But let's just say it doesn't happen and it breaks below. You could even see what happens at this support here because we're still holding structure, we're still at a prominent area of support. And price may form a double bottom and then continue to the upside. So I'm gonna keep that at the back of my mind, and we'll see what happens. So you see, when I do my analysis, there's a lot of ifs and buts because we don't know what's gonna happen. No one knows. We look at what the market shows us. We wait for the market to present more information, and based off the information that's presented us, we try to spot an opportunity and make some money. If we are wrong, no problem. We look for the next best opportunity. Cool. Thank you very much. I hope you will have a great trading week.